Good evening and welcome to the Cheese Room podcast Wednesday transfer roundup. Not that anything has really changed, but we're going to talk about it anyway. As always, I've got some fantastic guests for you this evening. Firstly, he's not the resident student anymore. He appears to be James, the man of stats, and I've heard he's got some good ones for tonight. James, how are you?
I'm tremendous. I'm getting on being quite drunk. I'm already halfway there, so I feel tremendous. Thanks for having me on. Lovely to see you back, Shan, hosting Wednesdays. Lovely to be with all you beautiful people. So I'm feeling good.
That's definitely a speech made from whiskey.
Scotch, actually. Specifically, Johnny Walker's. Johnny Walker's, please sponsor me. Or the channel. Me specifically. Sponsor me, okay?
Other brands of Scotch are available, of course. Also joining me tonight is Gibbo. I've heard you've been to the gym.
Yeah, I've joined the gym. Joined the gym. Been once. We'll see what next week brings. So, yeah, but glad to be back. Nice to be on with you, Shan, for the first time, and looking forward to talking all things Spurs. Not on the Scotch. I'm on the water, so...
Yeah, me. I'm on orange and lemonade. Not really that
Wednesday,
exciting.
school night.
I'll drink for both of you, all right?
Good
That
luck.
sounds like a great idea. Okay, on with the show, and hello to everyone in the comments. Obviously, get involved as always. We'd love to hear your points of view on all things we discuss. Obviously, we're going to be chatting transfers, the same old. I can't even. I nearly swore already. We'd have lost our PG rating after 2 minutes. The same old nonsense on transfers. Also, I've got the women's England game on in the background. I think last I heard we were 1-0 up, so that's good. And also, we'll be announcing the winner of the Spurs shirt competition, which is very exciting indeed. But before we continue, just the usual housekeeping. If you could sign in and hit the like and subscribe buttons, it really does help the channel. And I do believe we have a button. I'm gonna do a caller. Let's see.
Brendan's proud of me. Let's go.
I don't know where the like one is. It appears to have.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna do some comments while you're working this out.
Evening, Kerry. Evening, Adrian. Good evening, Roger. Kerry, we're not going to talk politics, but beautiful.
If you want to talk about that, I'd come listen to me ramble.
Is that on your other YouTube channel, James?
Politics, all 6 of them. Yeah.
That's
we don't want to. Say
we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it. It's fine. Just about football. Okay.
Football
John's
only.
Saying you're doing good, Shan. So there you go.
That's the sort of
positivity
I need.
Yes. Sorry, I'm just doing some maths.
Let's get started. So he has not even kicked a ball in the famous Lily White of Tottenham Hotspur yet, and he's already suspended. I mean, what do you think of this, Gibbo? I just think it's absolutely pathetic.
What, that he's banned for a game?
Yeah.
Well, it was always going to happen, wasn't it? Obviously, he did it towards the end of the season, but it is what it is. We need to go and spend another £50 million on another striker now. So we got one for the first game of the season, don't we? Going to be short. So, no, I mean, what can you do? Did he throw it into the crowd or did he just pick it up and run with it?
Apparently, he sort of threw it, but it went out of it didn't go into the crowd. An Everton fan was moaning on my tweet about it, saying it's the most ridiculous thing ever. He didn't even do anything wrong.
Well, not a lot we can do about it, though, is there? You know what I mean? It's health and safety, I suppose. He's gone against every health and safety regulation going in a football ground. So, yeah, he's done it. We got to move on. What can you do?
Well,
this is true. James?
Well, bottom line is, because we finished 4th, we have to play a Champions League qualification game before we get to the groups?
We don't
Do we?
anymore.
Or do we not have to?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, do you know what? It's only one game, right? He possibly wasn't going to start that game. It's going to be Kane, Son, Kulusevski, who we already know are deadly. It means he'll be fresh for
Chelsea.
the next game. Yeah,
Chelsea,
exactly. Right. So
Chelsea away.
it's really not that bad. It means if in that game Kulusevski has a bad game, or if Son looks a bit tired, or anything like that, he can play. I mean, I don't think he was going to start the first game anyway. It was going to be Son, Kane, Kulusevski. I think we're going to see Richarlison play a lot more minutes once the Champions League group stage starts, once the Carabao Cup starts. That's where we're really going to see him get a lot of minutes. And if he performs well in those games, then I don't doubt he'll start in the Premier League a lot more. But I don't think he was going to be an immediate starter. He's a lot better on the left than he is on the right. And Conte already trusts Kulusevski, and Son and Kane are world class. So I don't think it's that big a deal.
Would have been nice to have him as an option, though, wouldn't it? First game of the season, you know.
Yeah, coming off
home
the
game
bench.
as well. Fans give him a good reception if he come on. Hopefully, you know, we'll be in a decent position. We wouldn't need to bring him on, but it'd be good if it'd have been good for that first home game for him. And everyone likes to see new signings, don't they? But obviously, we're going to be robbed of that now. But I've seen in the comments, didn't Emerson picked a flare or something up in a game?
Yeah, it was right in front of me, but he didn't throw it into the fans or anything. He put it back down onto the pitch. So
okay, well, yeah. So that's him out then. First game could have been worse. Could have been more.
I just think it's a shame because it's Southampton at home, first game of the season. Like it could go a bit flat, and if you need something a bit different, like he's a good option to bring off the bench just to give us a bit of something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'd like to think first game. Like did you go to the City first game of the City? I know there was the Kane thing going on.
And I also watched the Everton game the season before that. So City, it's easy to sort of pump yourself up for it, isn't it? But Southampton at home, first game, it's a bit like. Well,
hopefully we'll have a few other signings that are coming in, and the crowd will be big behind us and everything. So hopefully, it won't be too big of a miss. And like I said, at the end of the day, there's not a lot we can do about it. It's one game. It could have been more. So,
well, exactly.
We've got to deal with it.
I mean, I'm more upset because Richarlison's going to transform our attack, isn't he, James?
He certainly adds an option, right? I don't think he's better than Son or Kane, because I think virtually no one's better than those two guys, right? Is he better than Kulusevski? In some ways, yes. In some ways, no. Kulusevski's a lot more... his passes, chance creation's a bit better, whereas Richarlison takes a lot more shots. So Richarlison takes 2.5 shots a game, despite only taking 5 shots in the penalty area, which means he's getting a lot of shots away. He's more of a goal scorer, whereas Kulusevski's more defensively minded and more chance creation orientated. But the crucial point here is, in some games, you are going to need 3 guys who are just going to take shots. And he is quick. He is tricky in that sense. He's got a lot of those FIFA skills almost. And he is a bit of a prick, right? Like Lamela used to be, like Romero is. And you need that in football sometimes. You need someone who's just going to walk over to one of the defenders on the other team and just tap him on the shoulder and wind him up,
Nightmare for tired legs as well, wouldn't he? Be a nightmare for tired legs.
Very much in the same way that Moura is, except Richarlison is actually a good football player. He's got the skill to back up his pace. I love Moura, but he's not very good, is he? So
I mean, if he lifted his head and passed the ball and didn't run into danger, he'd probably be all right. But we know he does all three of them things. So it's sort of he's his own.
Blows that argument straight out the water, doesn't it? When you say, well, if he could pass, if he could shoot, if he could. So, yeah, shame he won't be there. So I think, like I just said, I think if as you're getting into the end of the game, he'd be a nightmare chasing defenders down. I think you said he has a lot of pressures, doesn't he, James? Like he pressures defenders quite heavily.
21 pressures a game, which is nearly 10 more than Moura completes, which is like 9 more than Bergwijn completes. It's more than Kulusevski, Son or Kane complete a game. 21 pressures per 90 minutes. That's defender numbers. That's really big. Yeah. That means he's working hard,
putting himself about.
Yeah, exactly. That's the exact attitude Antonio Conte is looking for, and the exact attitude we should want from our players. Because bottom line, I think a lot of Spurs fans will agree with me. We're not going to be angry at a player because maybe they don't have all the technical ability, as long as they're giving everything on the pitch, right? It's when a player has the technical ability, like Tongi and Ndombele, but just cannot give the slimmest. I won't swear because PG. But look, these numbers, 21 pressures, 1.5 tackles a game. That's double what Steven Bergwijn was doing. He's pressuring a lot and he's winning the ball in these aggressive positions at least once a game. You get that at Everton. Okay, who are you going to pass to? Maybe Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's not a bad player, but he's not as clinical. If he does that for Spurs in an attacking area, one simple pass to Kane or Son, and we might score. You do that once a game. That's a chance created once a game out of literally nothing. And in a better team where there's more pressure, he's going to do that more. We could genuinely see a lot of goals this season, next season, out of Richarlison winning the ball in high aggressive places, laying it off to Son or Kane, and scoring chances. I think that's going to be something that happens a lot, just based off the statistics.
I think it just raises the bar, doesn't it? Because there's no way he's come to sit on the bench. If he's on the bench and he comes on, he'll be wanting to make an impression. This bloke's like Brazil's number 9 at the minute, or seen as their number 9. He's coming to play. He's not coming to sit on the bench and just be happy with that place, is he? So that's going to hopefully raise performance levels and attitudes on the pitch. So hopefully it will work. It's gonna work. And we haven't just got this bloke. It's like, so and so's injured. We got to play Llorente, or he's going to have games now. We're going to be saying, well, it don't matter. Son's injured, but we've got Richarlison, or Kulusevski's injured. We've got Richarlison. Obviously, Kane is the top man, but I'm sure if Richarlison comes in, he'll be more than adequate replacement if Kane's injured. So.
Am I hearing Llorente slander? I won't accept Llorente slander, mate. Llorente gave us one of our. Yeah. Ooh.
I'm not slating him, but what I'm saying is you're not the same team when Llorente plays. Obviously, we're not going to be the same team if Kane doesn't play and Richarlison takes his place. But I'd say someone like Richarlison is a more adequate replacement, gets about the pitch and will do more than maybe Llorente did. Maybe.
I don't know what you mean. Llorente's hip is a club legend.
He's got a great hip.
Hang on. Can I just say something?
What was it, right or his left hip? Whatever it was, fantastic hip.
Right. So I think one of the first games he ever came on was Spurs Borussia Dortmund, right, in the Champions League. And I was sat in Wembley with my dad, I think. And I remember my dad saying to me, "Blimey, this fella doesn't look quick, does he?" Truer words have never been spoken. The thing with Richarlison is you don't spend 60 million quid unless you're Man United for a bloke to sit on your bench. So Conte's obviously looked at him. Paratici's obviously looked at him. And to some extent, Levy's obviously looked at him and thought, this is a guy who can play 20, 25, 30 games for us and play and have a massive impact. You don't spend that much money for a guy to sit on your bench, right? Conte obviously thinks this guy can start a lot of minutes for me in the Champions League, maybe play all the cup games in the Premier League. It gives Son a rest, it gives Kane a rest, or one of them a rest at very least, because then it means that they're less likely to get injured, in particular Kane. He's played all these games, he keeps getting these niggly little ankle injuries. If he's being rested, well, guess what? He's less likely to get those injuries, which means when he does play, he's going to be fitter. It means if we're, 2-0 up against Morecambe in the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup, imagine the thought of that, eh? Shan will know. It means he can come on, and it's not like we're bringing on some 19-year-old who's terrible. We're still bringing on a world-class player. I genuinely can see Richarlison being at that level in a year or two. He's only 25. He's got a couple of years to get there. Give him a season or two under Conte, and he could genuinely be in that conversation of top 15 wingers in the world.
Maybe it's a signing that shows that we are raising our expectations and trying to change the mindset of fans and the club, that we're not buying someone who's coming in who sort of knows his role and is like, or getting a player who thinks, I don't want to go to Tottenham because I'm going to be behind Harry Kane. we're changing minds. He's changing our mindset. We're getting players in who are turning up to play, even though Harry Kane and Son are in front of them. Bringing in somebody who I think genuinely thinks, no, I can play in this team. I will be playing, which is what we've been after for ages. And that's what he's been brought in for. And that's hopefully what he'll do. I think there's a comment saying we need more than just a plan B. And I think that's what Richarlison's... But yeah, that's it, exactly. So we don't want plan Bs.
Conte, we know Conte.
So much goon piss, and I cannot wait.
Exactly. And I would love to see Romero and Richarlison's first meeting of each other. That's just going to be beautiful.
It'll be on the halfway line on the training pitch, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome to Tottenham.
The thing is, and look, we know Conte goes far in cups. He's not like Mauricio Pochettino, who just thinks Carabao Cup League, or even Klopp in some sense, who just thinks, I don't care about the cups. I just care about the Premier League, Champions League. We know Conte isn't like that. He'll win anything. He could be playing, I'm sure, a game of Scrabble, and he would be trying his hardest to win, even if it was against like a 5-year-old or something. Because it's Antonio Conte, he wants to win everything he does, which I respect. I think that's the correct attitude. I would try and beat a 5-year-old at Scrabble and then scream, you lose. Because I'm like that, right? And Conte's like that. The bottom line is, if you go far in the Carabao Cup, it's like 9 games, I think, from us to the final almost, because you play the semi-final 2 legs. The Champions League is 13 games, I think, or 14 games to the final. The FA Cup's 6, I think. You add those games, you're playing 56 games a season, right? Harry Kane can't play those games. Son can't play all those games. Richarlison can easily play 20 full 90 minutes a season, 25, and if he makes an impact in those games, Conte might sit and think, well, blimey, Son's brilliant, but Richarlison scored 2 last game in the Champions League. I mean, who do I pick here? Kane's been brilliant, but that's what we want. Son and Richarlison have both scored, and he might genuinely have a situation where Son starts up front or Richarlison starts up front, and they start together because, sorry, Kane, mate, I love you, you're fucking brilliant. Sorry, I swore. But these guys both scored 2 last week, so you're going to have to sit on the bench for 60 minutes because these guys are better.
There were genuinely games last season where Son was quiet. I think he probably contributed, scored, or maybe assisted, but he was quiet. Brilliant player, but all players have those games. There were games where Kane was ineffective. So that's what we need. That's what it's all about. That's what we need. We need to be able to say, you've had a couple of quiet games. We're going to bring someone else in. Richarlison comes in, scores a couple of goals, and then Son comes back in after that because Kulusevski drops out. Or I think somebody like Richarlison will probably end up getting at least 35 appearances this season.
This is it as well. Last season, we literally only had one formation we could play because we had like a load of 17-year-olds on the bench. We couldn't really switch it up. We could only really do what we could do. Whereas now we've got more of a complete squad. We're not even done yet, but we've got more of a complete squad where if we're struggling in a game and the 3-4-3 isn't working, we can switch to a 3-5-2 and put Kane, even put Son and Richarlison up front and drop Kane into the midfield.
Yeah,
because he's got the capacity to do that. His passing he's the best passer of the ball in our squad. So
you can just change it up a bit, can't you? You can go like 2 up front, and like you said, you don't even have to put Kane in back in midfield. You can just drop in behind and just change how you're playing, can't you?
So I suppose while on paper that might be a change in formation, functionally Kane plays as like a false 9, almost like Lionel Messi did for Barcelona, just in a different system. He's already dropping in deep. It would functionally be effectively the same position. It's just Kulusevski is less direct than Richarlison. So you could play Richarlison and Son as like a duo and Kane drops in. Kane already drops in for the wingers. So I guess it would just be a more direct way of playing that, right? Just with the wing backs pushed up further forward. I think if we were going to play a 3-5-2, we would play with a creative midfielder behind one of 4, I guess, attacking options. I'm not sure how much Conte would favour dropping Kane in, because Kane already kind of drops in, right, in a 3-4-3. We're already kind of playing a 3-5-2 in some ways, because Kane will drop in and you have 2 strikers and you effectively have 3 in midfield. He's almost playing the Wayne Rooney role, just like much better, because Kane is the much better football player, right? Yep. So,
I think as well, if you watch the later games at the back end of last season, you could see Bentancur and Højbjerg getting further forward as well and like they're like the furthest man forward, and then you've got Kulusevski squaring them away, like, or he's arriving late, or they're doing a 1-2. Like the Bentancur Kulusevski, was it the first goal against Norwich?
Yeah, against Norwich. Yeah.
Won the ball over the top, ran into space, squared it to Kulusevski, and he was there and put it away. Højbjerg had a great chance just before that, so you're seeing our midfield being a lot more progressive with the ball as well, which shows we've got it in our locker for the midfield to do that.
It just gives it. We're trying to build a squad, obviously, with more options, and the main thing, Conte does not want to put shit teams out. Does he? He wants to win. Every game he competes in, he wants to win. And then have signings like Richarlison, Perisic, Basuma, adding to those positions we've got already, from sort of like a position of strength, if you will, because we finished 4th. Ideal. That's what it's going to allow us to do. And like you said, Shan, I don't think we're not finished yet. Even though the signings we're going to talk about probably later on in the show, I think there's still, when they happen, I think there's probably still 1 or 2 big signings to come in after that.
Yeah.
So great, good signing. I don't like him. I'm on board with it now because he's a Spurs player. He's got a Spurs kit on, so I'm on board with it. Don't particularly like him, but
you'll love him. After he batters the Chelsea boys in his first game in the Spurs kit, you're gonna love him. You're gonna think he's great.
He's a Spurs player now. He hasn't even kicked a ball for us, so I'm behind him. That's it.
James, are you gonna just love watching Richarlison kick 7 shits out of Mason Mount when we play Chelsea second game of the season?
Oh yeah, certainly. It's almost like having Eric Lamella's shithousery in a really, really good player. I can just picture in my mind Romero and Richarlison looking at each other and mutually just telepathically thinking, we have to bully this guy. We have to make him hate football. We have to kick him so hard he goes back to university or something. That's how hard we have to play. And they both just mutually slam in to every Chelsea player so hard they cease to exist as a football club. Like, we already know Romero, he fucking loves the slide tackle. He loves it. I think part of him gets pleasure out of it. Like, he could have a horror film named after him. I'm just saying the Romero slide, and it's just him slide tackling. I mean, people say Saw is savage, but Romero, have you seen his slide tackles? Richarlison has that bit of shithousery and that bit of, forgive my language, cuntiness about him that, even Jose Mourinho said you need, right? He has that bit about him where if you want to win, you have to be a bit of a prick, right? And he has that, and he's just going to go in on the Chelsea players. He's going to feel. We all saw what he posted on, what was it, Instagram? That picture of him squaring up to an Arsenal player. He already knows. It took him like 10 minutes of being at Spurs to know what's up. He's going to show up at the Chelsea game.
If he's going to smash a Chelsea player, Azpilicueta, get straight on him. Put one on him.
Marcus Alonso. Go for Alonso.
I think he'll be gone. But Azpilicueta, what a smug little prick he is.
Honestly, I don't care if he gets like a multiple game ban or something. If he just runs in and 2-foot either of Azpilicueta or Alonso, mate, Richarlison, mate, I love you. I don't care how many bad performances you put in. I will sit here on the show and say, yeah, but do you remember when he 2-footed Azpilicueta? Can't forget that.
Let's make sure the game's over and we've won it before he starts doing that, though. Let's do the job
if we win 3-0, he can,
let's not do it early doors and have 10 men.
90th minute, we're 4-0 up, because we will be, because we're brilliant.
And then he'll have 3 games out. Another 3 on the bench, on the side.
Won't it feel satisfying when it feels satisfying, because we just know that he's going to post on his Instagram story a picture of him slide tackling him and just say, and the result, and just say good game or something like that.
He hates Chelsea as well. Richarlison hates Chelsea. Like,
he's already one of us then, isn't he? He's already one of us. He's going to be frothing at the mouth. He's going to be ready for it.
Let's hope so.
Are going to be ready for it. I want him to start in that game just because I know how much he's going to want it. I love Kulusevski, right? I think he's a really talented player, and he's only going to get better with time. Give him a couple years, and he could genuinely be in that world-class tier. Again, I think we have a lot of players that have the potential to be there, particularly now we have Antonio Conte, who are lockdown players, but that Chelsea game, he's going to be so up for it.
In all seriousness, we need to play Chelsea. We need to be obviously savvy against Chelsea, don't we? It'd be great to see him smash into him, but let's not hope they do that and get everybody sent off and we lose the plot like we did.
It's
Battle of the Bridge.
It's about
let's do it at the right times.
It's about being a cunt, but being a clever cunt, right? Like,
the
thing is, you've got to be savvy about it.
Even him winning a few penalties for Kane.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
I'm all for it. He plays for Spurs now. If he wants to be a little shithouse in the box, I can do it.
Do it the right way, but do it the right way.
He always pissed me off on Football Manager because he used to score against me. Now when I play Football Manager next year, I don't have to deal with that. He's going to be the one scoring for me. Stay tuned. You might have Football Manager videos from me at some point next year. Yeah, prepare yourself for that, everyone. Leave a like if you want to see me play Football Manager and be even more sweary than I am right now, because I guarantee you I am. No, I promise. It's okay. You don't have to leave a like. You can also just leave a like, but if you want to see that, subscribe. You don't have to watch it. You can just subscribe. Anyway, Shan, please continue.
We've spent about half hour talking about Richarlison, so let's move on.
He's a beautiful man, Shan. He's a beautiful man.
To what caller would describe as a seasoned Spanish international wearing a French kit.
Well, Spain and France, same part of the world, eh? Love conquers all, as they say.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think of this signing, Gibbo?
Yeah, I've not seen loads of him, but he's had a rough time as of late over in Barcelona. But what I have seen of him, and we've obviously spoke about him before because we tend to speak about the same players over the last few weeks, is that I think he's decent. He looks decent at bringing the ball forward. He looks a good footballer. He looks a good footballer, and he's obviously got a decent move to Barcelona, and you don't get that move by being crap.
Well, people would say that Emerson got the move and is crap. I don't.
Yeah, but Emerson got the move to Tottenham, and we were seen as a Europa Conference League team then, weren't we?
Well, yeah.
So this guy's gone to a Champions League club when Barcelona were Champions League, and now we are a far better outfit than we were a year ago. So he got a decent move to Barcelona. I think he did all right the first couple of years he was there, but then I think it just sort of turned for him, and I don't think he's ever recovered. He's obviously like left-footed, so I think he can play left centre back, probably cover it centre back as well. He looks quite creative and progressive with his passing, and I don't think it's as bad a signing as some people think it is, because I don't think he's been brought in as the all singing, all dancing centre back that we're all craving. I think this guy's a decent centre back with some Champions League experience who you can get. We're getting a good deal for him probably, because I think the fee after the loan is pretty low. So it's sort of like low risk, high reward, cheap. So that's what we've got. But I think he will be of more use than a lot of people are making him out to be. I think he's, like I said, I don't watch loads and loads of foreign football, but from like the stats of James put out last week and little bits I've seen on YouTube and stuff like that. And when I have seen him play before, he's not an awful centre back. And sometimes players just need a change, don't they? You know, it's just Harry Winks is moving on. He's had a bad time at Tottenham, and he'll probably go somewhere else, a club where he can play and fit in, and he'll be decent for him. Just not for us. We've moved on, and maybe that's what's happened with this guy at Barcelona. That, you know, they've moved on from him. He needs a change and change of scenery, and maybe Conte will get into him and get him playing again. Hopefully.
I think he's probably got a little bit more protection if he's playing for Spurs in a back three as well. You think all of our midfield options are very good midfield options.
Solid.
They're solid. You've got Eric Dyer and Romero alongside him. Obviously, Dyer's a leader. He's going to have everyone organised. If they're not in position, he's going to be battering you to get back in position. So, yeah. I mean, the only thing I think that I've heard he's not great at is his physicality in the air, which concerns me.
But I don't think Dyer's great in the air. I don't think Dyer's that great in the air. I'm not saying he's awful, but he's not a powerhouse in the air, is he? He's not really commanding. Or Romero.
Can I comfort you with some statistics?
Yeah.
So Dyer completes, in terms of aerial duels, which is when two players go to win the ball that's in the air, right? And how often they win it. Dyer wins 2.61 per 90. Ben Davies wins 2.73. Do you want to know how many long way wins? 2.74. He's better in the air than Davies and Dyer, although albeit him and Davies are basically on par, right? He seems pretty solid in the air. Furthermore, like I said to you on Twitter, he's actually quite good. He attempts 88 passes a game, nearly a 90% completion rate. This guy is good at passing. Admittedly, he's playing for Barcelona under Xavi, which is, you know, the Cruyffian mantra, which one day I hope Spurs play because I'm a Cruyff boy. But, you know, his progressive passes, nearly 7 a game compared to Davies' 4, compared to Dyer's 2. Progressive carries, 10 progressive carries. That's nuts. Dyer completes 3, Davies completes 6, and that's under an Antonio Conte system, which encourages Davies to run with the ball. This guy is good. These are his numbers when he's underperforming because he's in a hostile Barcelona environment that he's struggling in. His headspace isn't quite right. He's going to come into Spurs with Antonio Conte, who's going to work with him, who's going to put in place. Antonio Conte always puts in place these systems where players know where the ball's going to go. It's traumatrist systems. Words are not falling properly, but they're systems that will repeat because players know where to go, and they can rely on players can rely on their teammates to be in basically similar positions every match. The ball's going to go into similar places. It gives structure. It's highly structured football. You put this in place for a player like Lenglet, who already has really good passing numbers. He's going to improve a lot. The thing is, his defensive numbers matter less in a back three, but his defensive numbers are already better than some players at Tottenham. He completes 12 pressures a game compared to Dyer's 5, compared to Davies' 9. He completes more tackles, 1.8, compared to Dyer's 0.7, compared to Davies' 1.42. He's better than the defenders we already have, and it's only going to improve. Antonio Conte is a really good defensive manager. His passing numbers are better. His carry numbers are better. I just think he's a really good player. People say they don't know of him. Guys, he plays for Barcelona. He plays for France. How do you not know of him? Do you only watch the Premier League?
To be fair, he hasn't played for France for about 18 months, has he?
But they have really good options. I mean, you know, ultimately, France have a wealth of players. He's a unique player. He's a passing centre-back. There's two types of centre-backs. There's static centre-backs who are really good at the defensive aspects of the game. Think a Vidic, right? Really good at that aspect of the game. Then there's the progressive centre-backs. Think like the Van Dijks almost. Think the De Ligts almost, right? The modern passing, carrying centre-backs. They're two different roles. In a back three, the progressive aspects are much more important for the left-sided and the right-sided right-sided centre-back. There are basically no players in the world that are good at both, aside from maybe Romero, Van Dijk, and one or two others, right? He's very good at the progressive side of the game, which on the left side you really need. Ben Davies isn't a world-class centre-back statically. I mean, sometimes he plays like that for Wales because he plays his heart out like every Welsh player does, but he's very good progressively. Lenglet is really, really good progressively. In a back two, in a back three with more protection, he's going to be even better. He doesn't start a lot for the French team because Deschamps plays like awful football, and I could rant about Deschamps for a very long time, but I don't.
Who's he got in front of him though? Who's he got in front of him for France? Kimpembe, does he play?
Kimpembe plays a lot, yeah, predominantly because he's left-sided centre backs. On this note, I don't think his lack of inclusion in the French team speaks to his lack of ability. I think it speaks to Deschamps' preference for static centre backs as opposed to progressive centre backs, because he almost always chooses very, very defensive players. I mean, France play horrid football, despite having an insanely talented team. Sorry, Shan, please continue. I didn't mean to cut you off.
To be fair, Deschamps needed to bring on a player to win a game and not get kicked out of the Euros, and he brought on Moussa Sissoko.
Well, exactly, right?
So,
no, don't bring on me. I
think with this guy, his stats obviously show that he can. If you look at the stats, like James saying, it shows that he can come and be an asset at the club. But the guy hasn't signed for us either yet. But I mean, he hasn't even kicked a ball. So if he comes in, he's obviously been brought in for a reason. They've not, like I've said earlier, Conte wants to win every game. So if he needs to play this guy, he'll be playing him because he thinks he can do as good, if not a better job than the guy he's replacing. So we've just got to give him a chance, haven't we? Just hope that he comes in. Conte works on him, and he comes in, and he's a really good signing. A year ago, people were saying bomb out Eric Dyer and Davis. And look what's happened with them under Conte. They've come on leaps and bounds. So if he's coming in, I don't think he's as bad as everybody says he's going to be, and let's just at least give him a chance and see what happens.
Fabrizio has given us a nearly here we go with Lenglet. I think it's just the wage structure and how much of his wages we're going to pay, and then he's free to fly to London for his medical. So hopefully by the end of this week he'll be a Spurs player and he'll be on the plane to South Korea with the rest of the boys. Swiftly moving on, and I don't know if we're all a bit sick of talking about him now. James, do you want to kick us off with this one?
So look, sorry, my mouth's very dry. I need to have a drink. 2 seconds. That's better. Right, so I've been very critical of Djed Spence, okay? But because of his assist numbers. But I've taken a deeper dive, you could say, at his statistics. Okay? As I like to do, I am, of course, the man of stats. Because I've decided to give myself a title. When you look at his numbers, he completes roughly the same tackles a game, 2.7, to Matt Doherty. The main deficiency in this game seems to be defensively. Going forward, he's very good. Here's an interesting statistic for you. When he plays versus when he doesn't play, Nottingham Forest score, on average, when you take away goals for and goals away, one more goal. Like, I'm talking about last season, than when he doesn't play. So, on average, every game he plays for them versus when he doesn't play, they score a goal extra. I mean, that's a very positive statistic, right? That means he's either doing something brilliantly defensively, which I don't think he is, based on his defensive numbers, such as tackles, virtually same as Doherty. He's very physical. He's quite quick. He's good going forward. I think the main deficiency in his game, from what I can see from admittedly limited watching of him, but going off word of others and his statistics, is that he lacks a little bit defensively, but he's quite good going forward. You don't add a goal a game to your team by doing nothing. You add a goal a game to your team by doing a lot going forward if your defensive game is deficient. Thing is, bottom line, Victor Moses was quite poor, right? When Antonio Conte picked him for Chelsea, and he became a title-winning wing-back under Antonio Conte. Djed Spence is 21. He can improve. Antonio Conte can tell him what to do in a defensive system. It's a very structured defensive system, so it's easy for a player to slot into and learn. And ultimately, he is quite good going forward. He's strong. He's quite quick. I've been very critical of him for his numbers, but he does cross the ball a lot. And obviously, Conte sees something in him. He sees that wing back in him. And I can kind of get it, right? Like, he is pretty good going forward from his numbers. And he is quick, he is strong. He doesn't get a lot of goals and assists, but how many fullbacks get that many goals and assists? There aren't that many world-class wing-backs out there. And ultimately, if you're crossing the ball 6 times a game and your striker's pretty mediocre, you're not going to get a lot of assists, right? I could play 10 brilliant through balls, and if my striker's terrible, get 0 assists. I could play 2 mediocre ones, and the striker's great, and I get 2 assists. The 2 assists look better, but no, the guy who played 10 through balls is better, right? Do you know what I'm saying?
James, that's I was going to sort of say, when you look at these stats, and I've seen people put on, there's none in front of me, that, you know, he only had 2 assists or 4 assists, whatever he had in the Championship last year, and that's fair enough. But and it might not be any different. It might prove to be even worse. But how many chances did he create? Because you can end up looking at a stat at the end of the season that says you've created 2 assists, but if you've created 15 chances and the rest of your team have been negligent in front of goal, there's nothing you can do about that. If you're playing in those roles and you're creating chances and they're not getting put away, the only time you'll get anything positive from that is when it actually does go in. So if this guy is moving from Forest, where he's got, I believe, Keane and Davis up front, to coming to Tottenham, where he's got Kane and Son up front, if he continues that sort of trend of creating chances, then more of those chance creations should get put away playing with the players we've got, shouldn't they? And hopefully his defensive deficiencies will be helped by having better defenders with him and better midfielders, and having an elite coach who's going to coach him to play and get him in the positions he wants him in, possibly. Because this is like another one where he's took a bit of flack for being a Championship fullback who, admittedly, I've not seen loads and loads, but it's another one where he's a young kid coming to Spurs. He's not even kicked a ball for us yet. Most of us are saying the same things. Give him a chance. If he's going to come, which it looks like he probably will, let's just get behind him and give him a chance.
Oh, yeah, I absolutely agree. Even my criticism in former weeks before I took a deep dive. Yeah. Hit like, by the way. Cooler commands you to hit the like button. 116 watching, only 40 likes. Please hit like, guys. Really helps us out. Even if, you find me insufferable. Hit like for everyone else. Shan's lovely. Matt's lovely. Everyone else here is lovely. I'm the only insufferable one. Or maybe you don't find me insufferable, in which case, hit like for me. The thing about Spence is it's really hard to gauge, right? I mean...
Exactly.
We still have 2 right wing backs at the club. Emerson posted pictures of himself in pre-season. Maybe it is for the future, maybe it isn't. It's kind of hard to gauge. He takes a considerable amount of shots a game. He takes over 1 shot a game. He takes similar to Doherty numbers. Doherty, towards the end of the season, ended up, before he got injured, was playing quite well. His big weakness is he can't cross the ball, right? We can all agree to that. He's not massively physical either. If you get a guy in who's a lot more physical and has those good shooting numbers, can get in those direct areas, then that is the kind of player Antonio Conte is looking for. We already have that on the left side in a player like Perisic. Again, like I said, Djed Spence is 21. His numbers are going to go up in a better system. Forest weren't brilliant for large parts of the season last year. They started, by end of September, they were bottom of the league. They snuck into the playoffs and won the league, primarily because of Brennan Johnson, who is a Welsh legend, I have to say. Up Cymru. But his stats, when I look at them, I take a deep dive at them. He takes a decent quantity of shots a game. His shots on target game aren't tremendous, but do you know how many shots on target Matt Doherty makes? It's pretty low. It's like 0.2 a game. Spence's is 0.29. That's higher, right? It's still not brilliant from Spence, but he's playing a weaker team in a very physical division. It's best than Doherty's. Some of his creative numbers are higher. I don't have literally all of Spence's statistics because I can't find all of them because, annoyingly, there are worse stat reporting on the Championship. So I'm sorry I failed on my stats on this occasion. But from what I can find, it seems that he's about on parity with Doherty. and he's young. He's like 7 years younger, and he's a lot more physical. And from what people from Nottingham have said, he looks really, really good. And in some cases, stats can be misleading, right? If a guy's physical and quick, he's kind of superseding Doherty. You look at a player like Spence, he's better going forward, weak defensively. And you look at a guy like Emerson, who's quite good defensively, as we all know, but weak going forward. You have a good duo balance there in games where we know we're going to have to sit back deeper, like, I don't know, in a Champions League quarterfinal or something. Emerson can play that in a defensive game. If we know we need to go for a goal, Spence can come on. Like, he's young. Worst case, he doesn't do brilliantly. He's going to be max 20 million. And he's still young. He can go out on loan. Give him a couple years, he can come in. It's successing you on a while to come in, right? I don't doubt that Spence can come in and be a positive impact on the team because he's got all the right attributes. He hates Arsenal, so that's great. Maybe I don't think he's brilliant yet, but he's showing signs of something. So if we can get for 20 million and he improves over time, then that's good business by us. Sorry, I would just say to Derek, statistically, he's not very good defensively. I'm sorry, but he's not. If you've watched a lot of Nottingham Forest and think he is, then fair enough. I haven't, even though I love
He's
Nottingham.
better than Doherty defensively.
Well, yeah, but I'd be better than Doherty defensively, wouldn't I, Shan? So,
you know a lot of people, quite a few people who have seen him, haven't you, Shan? So you've got a little bit of insight off people who watch him more regularly than most of us would have.
I've watched him a fair bit because if Spurs aren't on the TV and Forest are, obviously living where I do, we'll watch Forest.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've watched him. I've watched him absolutely tear Arsenal and Leicester a new one as well in the FA Cup. People that I speak to for East Midlands Spurs have said he's really, really highly rated. They're gutted that obviously they're Spurs, so they'd be happy for him to come to us. But almost if he doesn't and he's not at Forest, then it's gutting for him. But yeah, no, I think he's a really good talent, and I'd rather we sign him and nurture him than not.
Yeah.
So
I think the problem is that people were expecting, and it's probably slightly the same with the Lenglet transfer. They're expecting a bigger name, aren't they? They're expecting 50 million spent on the right wing back, which obviously we'd all love. That'd be, if we could go and get an Hakimi, somebody like that, and like at centre half, all the names that have been mentioned there over the Lenglet, that's what we want. And I think that's why people get a little bit sort of deflated. But there's nobody's saying that Spence comes in, we get rid of Emerson or Doherty, and we still bring somebody else in if the opportunity comes up. I just think, there are better players out there who could come straight in and maybe improve us more straight away. But at the moment, Djed Spence is the name that is there, and he seems like the player who's going to be coming in. And like I keep saying, give the kid a chance. He's under Conte, better players around him. We've got to see what he can do. I think that's going to be the position we're in. So,
we're not signing Hakimi. Like, people need to get that.
No, we're not going to sign Hakimi. I don't think we are. But I'm just sort of saying that's what people are. I think that's what people are thinking we should be doing. And yeah, we should be, but we're not going to, are we?
No.
So, I think this is where we are at the moment. It's taking fucking ages and it's getting boring. So the sooner it gets done, the better. And we can just
stop talking about it.
Yeah, stop talking about it and get on with it and see how good or how dog shit he is, can't we? Yeah.
I think swiftly moving on from.
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? Sorry. Swiftly moving on from Spence. We've had the here we go from Fabrizio. Stevie Bergwijn has signed his 5-year contract as a new Ajax player. 30 million euros, and I'm hearing from HG that they've written off the 2.5 mil in add-ons we owed them for Davinson Sanchez. medical completed, just waiting for the statements now. So it's pretty safe to say Stevie's gone. We're not going to see him again. What do you think of this, James?
Sad in a way. Obviously wasn't fitting in at Spurs. Conte didn't want to give him the minutes. His stats aren't bad. He creates free shot creating actions a game. He takes roughly 3 shots a game, which is pretty decent, but he just wasn't getting the minutes at Spurs. It was inevitable. 30 million euros is pretty solid, I think. Richarlison is better. His stats are kind of similar. I think Richarlison takes he takes 2.5 shots a game in a much weaker Everton team, despite Bergwijn having 7 touches in the attacking penalty area of 3 shots, whereas Richarlison gets 5, and he takes only slightly less, 2.5 shots in the 2.5 shots. He gets 5 touches in the attacking penalty area, which indicates that basically every other touch he takes in the attacking penalty area is a shot, which is what you're from an attacking player, whereas Bergwijn's a little bit more pedantic, you could almost suggest. It's inevitable. That's a good fee for him. That covers basically the Basuma deal, right? It's a shame it didn't work out for him because I rate him, but I would rather we get a decent fee for him than stick it out with a player who isn't going to work at Spurs. You know what I mean? That's my view on it, basically.
Yeah. Gibbo,
Glad it's done in a way because we can hopefully move on, stop talking about it. But it's the same old thing, isn't it? He just wasn't playing games. Guy wants to play games, and he wasn't at Spurs. Wasn't playing enough games for sort of the qualities he's got. Really, Ajax, decent move for him to go to the biggest club in his home country. Hopefully he'll play because he want to play in the World Cup, and I think he's been getting in for Holland recently. Yeah, it's a shame it never worked out, but it hasn't worked out, and we've got to move on. Offset that against the Richarlison money, in my opinion, because they sort of play, they're attacking players, and we move on. It's over. He did some good stuff for us. The Man City goal, the 2 against Leicester, obviously played a massive part in us getting Champions League this year. But it just ultimately for him, it didn't, and the club, it didn't work out. So you've got to move on, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. We're going to skim over this next one because I don't think we need to spend too much time talking about it. But according to my very well put together run sheet that John has kindly done for us, Harry Winks to Leicester is not completely off the table, even though we've called our interest on Tielemans. What do you think of this, Gibbo? Do you think it could happen?
It could happen. I think if we get a decent bid off whoever, he'll go. Leicester, Tielemans is leaving, isn't he? Obvious by the looks of it. So, I said this about Everton. When they were talking about him going to Everton, I'm not sure if he'd get in at Everton. And I'm not sure if he'd get in at Leicester, although I'm sure today I've seen that they're moving a guy they bought, I think Sumer, central midfielder last season, that he's going out on loan. I think I saw that this morning to another French club. So, and with Tielemans obviously looking to move, maybe there's an opening for him. But where did Leicester finish last year? They sort of were they top 10 in the end? 9th, 10th? They're going to be looking to improve on that, aren't they? Because obviously that's what you look to do. And is he the sort of guy that can do that at Leicester? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But sooner or later, if somebody comes in for Winks, he will have to go. But I don't know. I genuinely don't know where. I don't think he'd get in at Newcastle. Newcastle are buying players. I don't think they'd want a player of his quality. Leicester, maybe, if they're just looking to get a player in to replace Tielemans. Everton were obviously bobbins last year, but I don't think he gets in there. I genuinely don't know where Winks will go. I don't know what's going to happen with him. So, yeah, he could go to Leicester. I mean, you think even a team like Villa, he's not, and they finished, where did Villa finish last year? I think they finished about 14th or 15th. They're looking to progress, but he won't get in their midfield either. He's not getting in over McGinn, Douglas Luiz, the guy they bought from Marseille, he's not getting in there, and they're sort of like towards the bottom of the league. I think maybe some like Forest might be a good move for him. I'd have said Norwich would be a good move for him. I think he would go to those sorts of clubs. If he went to a club like Norwich, he'd probably get a couple of hundred appearances for them. Probably wouldn't really move anywhere else. He'd just be a steady player for them. When they're in the Championship, he'd be superb. And when they came up, because they're a bit of a yo-yo club, he'd do all right. But they wouldn't be looking to get rid of him. I just think that type of move is where he's at. But I think he probably thinks he wants a bigger move, that he should be getting a bigger move than that.
James?
I don't know with Winks, because I don't think Forest should go for him. For anyone who doesn't know, I managed them in Football Manager and took them
to Forest?
I took them to winning the Champions League this year, a couple months ago. I didn't sign Harry Winks. I did sign Tanguy Ndombele, actually, and he was integral to my Champions League winning team. But, it's tough for Winks, right? Because he's a very specific kind of player. He's very... We all remember that Champions League game we had against Real Madrid, right? Where he was playing those long diagonal balls to Trippier, and that goal in particular where Winks crossed the ball diagonally, goes to Trippier, simple pass into alley, boom, we score a goal. Who are Real Madrid? Bad team, we battered them. He doesn't play those passes anymore. He plays side-to-side football. Something's decimated his confidence, and
injuries.
Yeah, and I think in a way, managers, maybe even Mourinho, who dropped him off the West Ham game, and I think until he gets that back, he's not going to be at the level where a team thinks this guy can progress us. He can't progress Villa. They've got players like Douglas Luiz, who's really talented, physical. They've got McGinn. Coutinho.
Unfortunately, sorry, James. If we are trying to progress and become a top team, the higher up the league you go, there is no room for sentiment, and we've moved on from him.
Yeah, I agree.
And unfortunately, I think he's had a bad injury, which he's never really got over. Pochettino said he'd always be playing in pain, and I think it has affected him, which has affected his confidence, and we've moved on. And that is the way it is. And I think maybe Fulham I see in the comments, possibly there, but I don't think he gets anywhere near Villa's team.
I don't think he's physical enough for Southampton, because Southampton play really pressing football under Hasenhüttl because they have a good manager. I don't think he'd keep up with that, right? I don't think he'd get in a game at Hasenhüttl. He's
Bournemouth,
maybe Bournemouth, right? Fulham.
Bournemouth would make sense because Scotty Parker's there.
The problem with these teams is they are teams that are going to be at the bottom half of the table. Their midfielders are going to have to do a lot of defensive work that I just don't know that Winks can do. He works hard for Spurs because he's a Spurs boy, but would his heart be in it for another club? I don't know. Look, he's had these...
I think Norwich should be bang on for him.
He's had this really terrible injury. I'm going to say something. Maybe he should almost become a coach. I know it sounds really weird to say, but, Mason had that terrible injury.
I think he's still got something to offer, James. For a team like us, I've got Norwich in my head now, so I can't get out. Yeah. I think he'd have something to offer Norwich. I really do. I think he could go there and have a good career.
But he's a Spurs boy.
Livermore's gone and had a good career in football at West Brom. He's played with them in the Premier League and he stayed with them in the Championship. I think Winks will end up being pretty similar, have a pretty similar career to that.
Look, I've been harsh to Winks. I said I'd smoke a cigar when he leaves, which, who knows, I might do. I have friends who really enjoy cigars. Who knows? Maybe I will. But look, Winks, he's a Spurs lad, and I'll never berate someone who gives 110% for Spurs, which he does, right? You can see videos of him. He's struggling, but he's really trying hard. He obviously cares about the badge because he wants to, right? Which is the correct attitude. If he does that at another club, I'm sure the fans will love him. Unlike Ndombele. I won't go on love attention to Van Ndombele. But my worry is, does he just give everything because he really bought into Mauricio Pochettino's philosophy and because he's a Spurs lad? Everyone here, right, who's a Spurs fan, which is everyone. If not, hello. We'd all give 110% if for some random reason we were playing for Spurs, right? But would we do it for another club? For a Spurs lad, it's kind of nuts. Look, I'm not saying Winks should retire. My point is, would he be the same player for another club because he's a Spurs lad? I think
he'd be better for another club because he's going to get regular football and he'll get his mojo back.
Yeah. Bottom line is,
I don't think
he needs to move on, and we need to move him on. That's the bottom line.
But he'll never be the same player he could have been again. He'll never be a top-class player again. He'll be a mediocre player.
Yeah,
if he moves on. I think he'd be better off as a coach.
I think he will be. Like I've said, the types of players I mentioned earlier. But he could have a good career doing that. He's not as awful as we all make out he is. He's just not good enough for Tottenham Hotspur anymore. He can pass the ball. Like you said, I know he moves it side to side. There are teams out there who want somebody who just knocks it side to side and plays it to the centre half, gets it back. There's teams that want to do that, and that's what he needs to find, because it's just not going to happen for him at Tottenham. And for his own career, he needs to move on.
I think even a move to the Spanish league would be good for Winks. It's not
exactly.
Because he was linked with Sevilla, weren't he?
But if it's obviously as well, all depends on who wants him and what those clubs are willing to pay for him and what price tag we put on him, isn't it? That all makes, I think I think 15 million. If you got 20 million for him, you'd done a fucking good job. I don't think he's worth that. Levy might be able to get that out of someone, but I don't think we're going to get that. And if that's what we're holding out for, it's going to be a long, drawn-out affair, isn't it?
Anyway, on from I said we're only going to skim over it.
Yeah, it's sad, really, isn't it?
The boys are back in town, and here's some good training photos. It's good to obviously see Skippy back in training, looking good. Romero looking like he wants to take Sessegnon out. Please don't. His hammies are not good. Yeah.
That's what we want, isn't it?
Failed his fitness tests and they weren't very good as well, which is a shock.
Yeah, he'd done all those. Like, you see a couple of videos on Twitter of him looking like he's running around like a blue-ass fly. Next minute, you see somebody going, he's turned back up to training and his stats are shit. So, just nightmare, any. That's been a nightmare situation with him, and he's another one who'll probably struggle to move on. But
I think we should just write off his contract, to be honest.
It might end up coming to that. I'm not saying it will. I hope it doesn't, but it could end up coming to that, couldn't it? Paying the bloke to leave.
That'd be nice. Just to never have to see a photo. I've muted him on Twitter now, but I still keep seeing him because people keep just putting videos and not putting his name on there. It's driving me nuts. James knows how angry this guy makes me, and I believe it's a shared hatred that we both have after that moment we had against Morecambe in the FA Cup.
I don't want to talk about it, Shan, because if I talk about it, I'll start swearing, and I've sweared enough today.
Okay,
but look,
there we go.
Bottom line. If I speak, I am in big trouble, so I prefer not to speak. So I'm going to eat my scone and just. Me and Shan agree that we both are angry about this. It was my birthday. It was my 19th bloody birthday, and I was drunk. It was the first drink I had with my bloody father, right? Since I turned 18, right? And he fucking ruined it, so I'm angry, and this is a grudge I will take to my grave, and it's so deep my children will be born and they will feel this grudge. They will feel this deep bloodline pathological. I can marry some, I don't know, Ethiopian woman, right? And they would feel it in their soul. That's how deep this hatred is. And they will grow up speaking it. They could speak, I don't know, Taiwanese, and they would know the words, the equivalent translation. That's how deep this anger is. And they will make it their life's mission to resolve their father's anger. Okay?
Not keen then.
So you could say that,
No.
Matt. Yeah, where do you get that idea from, mate? So I'm going to go back to eating my scone
Yes.
because I don't want to say something that'll get me in trouble.
Move on.
I think on that note, yeah, next slide. Caption contest. Everyone in the comments join in. What do you think's being said here, Gibbo?
I think Forster's looking at Perisic and sitting there going, I've told him there is no fucking way I'm wearing that training top. That yellow thing. It's fucking awful. It's just sat there like, I'll just keep this t-shirt on.
I quite like it. I mean, it looks
that,
good on them. If you put it on
colour,
it
that
looks
colour has
really
got
awful,
nothing to
but-
do with Tottenham Hotspur. That yellow. It's just old-fashioned. I'm just a dinosaur. I don't get why we have to have fluorescent yellow training tops.
Hang on.
You've got to move on with the times.
Yes,
No, you don't. No, you don't.
And to be fair, we've used a lot of yellow recently.
No, you don't. Society hasn't progressed since the late 1990s. I will hold society to that opinion, despite being born 2000s. Sorry, I know this isn't Spurs related. Derek, Finland makes some of the best black metal in the world. Sargeist are brilliant. I'm presuming he read my shirt and looked at my name. Listen to Sargeist, bro. They're really good. Sorry. Side note, caption contest. I don't know. This is a beautiful image, I think, actually. I think they should just kiss and get it over with, right? You know, I think I can feel something between the two of them. They're both beautiful men. I don't know, man. Like,
bang on. Somebody in the comments here. You bike to training?
Yeah.
I don't like.
No,
I
mate,
don't like.
this is the new training
neon
kit.
Green. I don't like the bright neon green Spurs kit. I'm sorry. It does look like something a cyclist would wear. I'm sorry. I have a mate who just passed his motorbike license, and he wears a jacket that looks really similar to our training kit. So to me, it's just a biking outfit. I'm sorry, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. I do like the blue training kit. That looks nice, I think.
I like the
one
one
Forster's got
that
one's
the
fine.
coaches have. It's like a really dark navy.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
I think that looks good.
That one's nice. I just don't get this fluorescent thing. You're going to have
Matt, I don't get it
loads
either,
of
mate.
like blokes, obviously not me, but people in their mid-40s
Cooler.
walking round in a fluorescent yellow, tightly fitted
Cooler.
training top.
Leave a like if you want to see Cooler wearing a tightly fitted fluorescent top.
Oh, he'll buy one. He'll buy one, I'm sure of it.
Leave a like, and next episode on Wednesday we'll show. Well, at some point on Wednesday we'll show you a photo.
Cooler will buy it for his football that he plays on Tuesdays.
You mean? Oh, sorry, he plays football. I thought he was in the Roman Colosseum with all the injuries he gets, the vicious injuries. I thought he was in the Roman Colosseum. Football, blimey. Well, maybe he's. Oh, I don't know.
Oh, bless him. Yeah, I mean, it's a nice solid, isn't it? Those two for free. I put Perisic in my dream team today, and he was a bargain. He was like 5 million.
Hopefully, hopefully he will be a bargain.
Have you guys put your dream teams together yet? Your fantasy teams?
No, I used to do it sort of like every year. It got to this point, fantasy football. Start it, be top of the league after like 2 or 3 weeks. Forget to like do any changes or captain people, whatever. And then by the end of the season, my team wouldn't have been changed. It'd just be like completely forgotten about. So I've just stopped doing it now.
Mine is good. I'm quite happy with it. I'm getting it up now. So I've got Edison in goal.
Yeah.
Then in defense, I've got Matty Cash, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Kieran Trippier, and even Perisic. Then in midfield,
defence, is he down as a defender?
Yep, 5 million.
But obviously he'll bag goals, won't he?
Yeah,
You know, he's
Fantasy football tips on the cheese room right here from Shan.
And then I've got in midfield, I've got Anthony Gordon, Phil Foden, Jared Bowen, Bruno Guimaraes, Son, and then I've got Kane up front. And then on my bench, I've got Pepe Reina, Walker Peters, Greenwood, not Mason Greenwood, the Greenwood at Leeds, and Alexander Mitrovic.
Sounds good.
I thought it was genius, but
Have you done one, James?
I used to do one, but thing is, I always used to like the picking of the team. I didn't like changing it each week. I wanted the fantasy football where you pick a team at the beginning of the season. 15 players you think will do well over the course of the season. I never had the patience to change it each week. And I'll be at uni next year, which means I will be passed out most mornings. So, that's not happening as I haven't bothered this year. But, I will still be on the cheese room, probably giving hungover opinions about Tottenham. So if anyone's looking forward to my uni dorm room, subscribe and hang around, because I will be even nuttier next year, if you think that's even possible. So, yeah.
On that note...
a beautiful man and his 202
A beautiful man who, honestly, should be in... some sort of movie. Look at him. Look how beautiful he is. He's in good shape as well. He's
He's Italian.
Has anyone actually seen this, or is it just me?
Yeah, I watched it. I watched it last night when Love Island was on. Up to bed, watched it on my phone.
Crikey, Matt.
You know what? It was really funny about it is I'd actually. Even though I was at a lot of the low points last season, I was at a lot of the games. I was at Southampton at home. I was at Burnley away. I went to Borough. I was at a lot of the low points last season. I had forgotten actually just how much of a roller coaster it was until I watched this. And I was like, Jesus Christ, our season was just ridiculous.
Mad.
Yeah.
You think he came in and it was all looking good. And then when they keep showing the league table going up, after we played Brighton, and you sort of think, after we played Brighton at home, it was all out. We all thought it was, you sort of think it was all over. And then, but I thought it was really good. I thought if there's anything that's going to, if you want to pay for it and you watch it, it'll definitely get you up for the upcoming season, won't it? And it's sort of when you listen to Conte, and the bit I love about it, is when they kept showing when Kane scored against City, and they show that little run he does round the pit, round the edge of the pitch, and then into all his coaching staff and stuff like that. And you watch it and you think, fucking hell, this bloke's he's really gonna push us on. We can really get behind this. And I think that was the good thing about that. It's only on for 40 minutes, but you sort of I sort of watched it and I thought, yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
This is the bloke.
I sat there and I watched it and I was just like this the whole time.
It was when
I was just smiling.
Even when we
lost Burnley away, which was I took that very hard because I was stuck in the car park afterwards. It was pissing it down with rain. The drive home was absolutely terrible, and I got in at 3 a.m. And then I got back and I saw what Conte had said in his post-match.
Here we go.
I took it very personally. Even when that was being relived in front of my eyes, I was smiling because I knew how it ended. Because
the ending. Yeah. Like I said, I thought it was. I think there's going to be some really good. I think there's going to be some decent content on there. I haven't had time to sort of go through it, but I like watching the older stuff and bits about the players who played years ago. Like I think there's some videos about Martin Chivers, and there's stuff about Ledley King, and I like watching stuff like that. So I'm hoping they're going to put some decent content out and more stuff like this. But this was really good.
I saw one.
I mean, I don't think there's going to be many Spurs fans who are out there struggling to get up for this season. But if you are, give this a watch.
I saw one about Yunus Kabul as well.
I haven't listened.
I remember actually being at a Spurs game years ago with my dad. I can't remember which one, but I remember the commentator saying Yunus Kabul at Old White Hart Lane. I don't know what's stuck in my head specifically.
I used to love that big baldy guy. He's great.
Do you know, it's funny because sometimes not the best players live in our memory the longest. It's I don't know.
Yeah, you sort of when he first went, I used to get a load of sticks off my mates because I was like, this bloke's fucking useless Kabolics, we should call him. Obviously, then he scored the header against Arsenal, didn't he? So all is forgiven.
Good old Yunus Kabul. Loved him. And that takes us on to a reflection on the squad and who we've got so far. Sort of assuming, I don't know if we've assumed signings or not, but this is what we've got. So goalkeepers, it's looking pretty good. With Hugo, obviously, we've got Fraser Forster in and Brandon Austin, who's a really good prospect in the academy. Think we're looking strong in the goalkeeping department, James?
Oh, definitely, right? Like, last season we had Golini, who, I'm going to be honest, he's shit at football. He should... Lads, I'd do a better job than him.
He was basically there for the vibes, though. He had good vibes.
I played in goal for my Sunday league team, and I'm better than him. I reckon we could go down... I reckon Antonio Conte go down a local pub, right? Say, who's played Sunday league? Big old fat Dave in the corner. He'd do a better job than Golini. Fraser Forster, solid goalkeeper, right? Played Champions League football for Celtic. He's played minutes for Southampton. He's experienced. He knows what he's doing. Hugo Lloris, World Cup winner. We all love Hugo. I've got a photo of him. Nice guy. Good, solid keeper. Brandon Austin, to my own shame, haven't seen enough of him, but it's the top two that most matter. Hugo Lloris, Fraser Forster, both very solid options. You know, if Lloris got injured, I wouldn't be worried seeing Foster in goal. I think he's a good goalkeeper, right? Golini, I would be. I see three pretty good options here, personally.
Have you guys seen the story that where Romero said that Hugo he lived close to Hugo and he'd been looking after him when he first joined, but he did find it weird that Hugo was always asking him to drive him to training. Have you seen that story?
No,
because obviously Romero didn't realise that Hugo's not allowed to drive.
Yeah,
it was hilarious.
Yeah. That's it. I think I'm with James. I think hopefully we won't have to see Brandon Austin play too much, and I don't mean that in like hopefully we won't have to see him play. These two guys stay fit, two decent keepers. Obviously Hugo, fantastic, one of the best. I think still one of the best keepers in the world. And Fraser Forster, more than adequate replacement for him. Better than when we had Vorm, better than Golini, so better than Joe Hart. So yeah, decent in the keeper department.
On fantasy Premier League, Hugo's the third most expensive goalkeeper behind Ederson and Alisson. So
yeah, top keeper, underrated.
Mm-hmm. Right, so that moves us on to defenders. So we've got Roberto Carlos, Sergio Reguilon, Christian Romero, Davinson Sanchez, Emerson Royal, Joe Rodon, Eric Dyer, Ryan Sessegnon, Japhet Tanganga, and Daddy Davies. I think obviously I think we pretty much can say that a couple of those will go and Clement Lenglet will be in there.
Well, I think you'll end up having Lenglet and Spence, won't you? Because obviously you class the wing backs as the defenders, so they'll come in there. I think if you look down, Tanganga, I'd probably like to see go out on loan.
Yeah.
So I don't think he'll get a lot of football at Tottenham, and I think he needs to play so we can, if he could get a Premier League move or a top half of the Championship, and he doesn't keep getting injured, we can actually see him over the course of a season and see what he's like, because we've seen bits, haven't we? We haven't seen. I don't think we've seen enough to make a proper judgment of him in one position either. He's played a bit of right back and a bit of centre half. So I think Rodon probably wants to move on for his career. One at Doherty or Royale. I think if we bring Spence in, we'll probably be moving on. So, and I think we're gonna bring another centre back in as well. So maybe I think you probably want 6 centre backs, don't you? So what does that leave you with? Romero, Dyer, Davis. If we bring Lenglet in,
I think Sanchez will stay.
I think out of Sanchez and Rodon, I think Sanchez is more likely to say. He did all right at the end of the season, didn't he? We were all sort of like Arsenal game off. Sanchez is in, but he did all right after a shaky couple of minutes. He looked all right.
Definitely. He's not as bad as everyone makes him out to be honest.
No, I think he was just in that back line where sort of towards the end of the Jose era, just individual mistakes. We had a lot of players making individual mistakes, and he was one of them, wasn't he? You know, but when he first came in and he played in between Toby and Jan, I thought we got a real player here, but he went backwards. So hopefully, if he stays and works under Conte, and he seems pretty happy to be in there, he's not made any real noises about leaving, has he? So
no,
it'd be a decent squad member.
Yeah. Moving on to the midfield, we've got Perisic, who's a defender, really. Yves Bissouma, great signing. PEH, Rodrigo Bentancur, Giovanni Lo Celso, Pape Matar, who I'd actually forgotten about until the photos on Monday. Tanguy and Harry Winks and Oliver Skip. James, are you with us? Are you in the room?
Yes, indeedly. Sorry, there's a moth that's flying around. Fun fact: a really small fly actually is inside my monitor at the moment. I've been trying to kill it. Sorry, I'm really drunk. I've drank half a bottle of scotch, and I'm a lightweight apparently. Anyway, I think we've got pretty solid midfield options. Ivan Perisic isn't a midfielder; he's a wing back. So
I don't know who put him in the midfield.
Is fucking stupid. I'm sorry,
but he can.
List. Yeah, Matt, I agree with you. He can, but he's a wing back, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, central midfield: Bissouma, Højbjerg, Bentancur, our Lord and Saviour Oliver Skip. Really solid options. I haven't seen enough of Saar, to be honest, because I don't watch French football because I'm not interested in watching farming. So the Celso's going, Winks is going, and Ndombele is going. If Ndombele doesn't go, mate, I'll drive him to the airport, whoever the fuck he wants to go. If he wants to go play in Chinese Super League, don't care. I'll drive to China. Piss off. Don't care. Simple as. We've got 4 very solid options. I'd like a creative option in there as well, just in case we want to play a 3-5-2. But I think we've got 4 very, very solid midfield options. Bissouma, Bentancur, Højbjerg, and Skip. I think they're all pretty good options. Does anyone disagree with that? I think they're all really good options.
No, I think you're right, mate. I think if Højbjerg, Bissouma, Bentancur, and Skip, I think if we play 2 in the middle, if any of those 2 out of those 4 are playing, I don't think you're going to really be like, fucking hell, going to struggle today because so and so and so and so are playing. They're all of a pretty similar standard, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're all slightly different as well, because I think Bentancur and Bissouma are a little bit more progressive, as I think Skip could be, but I think Skip and Højbjerg are a lot more defensively sound, whereas you look at Bissouma and Bentancur, who are a little bit more progressive. One's more the destroyer player, which sounds a little bit sexual, but they're, the ball-winning player, the Conte, if you were, and then you look at the more box-to-box player like Bissouma or Bentancur, who's going to take the ball and go forward and be a bit more progressive. I think all of them can kind of fill each role. So we've got a little bit diversity. I mean, when you look at Conte's last Premier League winning Chelsea side, you had the Matic and the Kante, right? Kante was the guy who was a bit more progressive with the ball. Matic was the guy who was really the deep holding player. We have that in Skip or Højbjerg and the kind of Matic player, right? And you have the more progressive box-to-box player in Bentancur or Bissouma. I think we've got some quite good options. We have 4 players in that role. We have options for both players. If I was playing Football Manager, I'd look at that and think, sorted. We've got players. We can rotate both midfield options. If we've got, 3 games in a week, we can rotate both options, right? So if we got to go away to, Morecambe, which apparently is an incredibly difficult game according to Tonga and Ndombele, we can rotate both our midfield options and have both of our first team options fresh, whoever our first team options may be. Our first team options may very well be Oliver Skip and Rodrigo Bentancur. And our backup options may be Højbjerg and Bissouma. Who knows? You don't know how they're going to progress.
I don't even think it's going to be a case of backup and starting. I think it's going to be mixed. Right? It'll be mixed a lot, depending on the opposition.
Yeah.
I think.
And
good
fitness.
They are all
and
a little
fitness.
Bit different, right? Yeah, good point, Matt. Yeah.
Like people do. But I do agree that when you take out of that list the ones who you think may move on and it looks solid, but I do think you sort of miss an option in there that is maybe a little bit more creative. I think they can all.
Our creativity doesn't come necessarily from our midfield.
No, it's going to come from the wing backs, but sometimes you may want that option to bring on, hadn't you? I'm not saying what we were talking about it the other day, and I said that may come from like an opportunistic signing. So a player who does that may become available towards the end of the. I don't think it's something we're really going to push for, but something may come up towards the end of the transfer window. Maybe a club needs to move someone on so they can get someone else in, and it might be someone that's not even on our radar at the minute, or the fans are talking about. But I do think we need that option in there, and I think, like Seb said on the show Friday, about he could see Giovanni Lo Celso staying, possibly. I'm not sure. I don't think he's like very well liked. But I can understand what he's saying, because I think we've got that many games and he gives us something different from the others that I think we do need that extra option. And if at times we do switch and play 3 in the middle of midfield, then I think we need 6 options in the middle of midfield.
All of the ones that are potentially going to go, I'd prefer Lo Celso to stay.
Yeah.
Than the others.
I mean,
he's the worst. He's the least bad of a bad bunch.
I think Lo Celso is the only one who offers a different option, right?
Yeah.
Because he can progress the ball and he has decent passing numbers. And he does show a willingness to work. I just don't think he works in England. Tongue and Ndombele, if I speak...
We don't need to talk about him.
Shan, you and me were on a fucking wavelength. You were there at the Morecambe game. He can... I don't care. He can go work in real estate or something. He can
go and work at Chick King for all I care. We don't need to
go work at KFC. I do not give a shit. He pissed me off on my birthday, so...
No second chances for Ndombele then.
That wasn't even his second chance. That was like his 3rd or 4th or 5th chance.
Look, bottom line is, I don't care.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
He gives a lot, right? He was just strolling around. Lads, it's fucking Morecambe, right? Lads, it's Morecambe. They're shite arse. And you're struggling against a team who are shite arse. I mean, you're just not very good, are you?
Me and James had to sit there and listen to Morecambe fans singing Tottenham Get Battered for about 20 minutes.
On my birthday.
But in the end, we never did we?
No, but...
You, Morecambe.
Let it go. Get rid of him. Let it go.
One. I do not give a shit. Enjoy League One, maybe even League Two. I don't know. I don't know who you are. I don't care.
It's affecting you way too much, mate. Got to let it go.
Let's move on. Forwards, right? This just obviously we need to remove Bergwijn. Harry Kane, Son Heung-min, Richarlison, Brian Hill, Dejan Kulusevski, Lucas Moura, and why even put Jack Clark in there? I don't know who bothered putting Jack Clark in there. It's probably the most unnecessary thing ever because he is off this summer, I think. What do we think of our forward line?
I think Kane might do all right. Son be all right, I think.
Son is like the most expensive Tottenham player on Fantasy League this year. He's more expensive than Harry Kane. Son, yeah.
Yeah, because he goals, isn't it? And that's it. But I mean, Kane's quality, isn't it? I mean, when you look at that, Jack Clark, yeah, can't see him getting any game time. I can't even see him being at the club. Bergwijn's obviously gone. Not sure if Conte fancies Hill. Not sure if he gives him enough. So we're going to need 6, maybe 5 if you sort of said Perisic could play as one of the front 3 if needed. But I think you probably need 6. So you got Kane, Son, Richarlison, Kulusevski. Then you're going to have Moura, aren't you? I mean, I'd have probably looked at moving him. I've seen that we've been linked to Memphis. And now I think that would be a decent signing. I think if you had the options of Kane, Son, Richarlison, Kulusevski, and Depay, and obviously Moura, I think you've got some really good options there then. And I think that is... Then you're really looking at it thinking, we are strong. we're strong anyway, but even stronger. I wouldn't mind that. But yeah, no problems up front is there really. It's just the not backup, just the rotation options. Maybe bringing someone else in, but that's fine, isn't it? Nobody's going to moan about that.
No, definitely not. I think no one needs to worry about our attack, really. We'll be
No,
all right.
like I said, it's just those options, to rotate. Like now we've got Richarlison, isn't it? It's just
This is a good point as well. Apparently, we're after Benjamin Sesko, who is the new Erling Haaland, apparently. But we'll see about that. We'll see about that. Anyway, moving on. It's competition time. Can I get a drum roll, please? The winner. No one did it. That was really disappointing.
I'm trying here. I don't know.
The winner of the Spurs jersey is at Harlow C, Robin's Nest, brackets C Harlow. So
Go on, Mike,
if you're in the
mate.
comments, Robin's Nest,
I had a go at this.
please claim your brand new Spurs kit. Which,
Was
by
he
the way,
picked
is
at random, Shan?
It was picked at random. John did confirm.
Fair play. Has he got it? What has he got? Is it just a shirt? Is there a name of choice on the back?
To be honest, I don't know.
No.
I can't remember the deets, but I do know he wins a shirt. So get in touch with us on Twitter, and we'll get that sorted out for you. Congratulations! Right, this takes us on to the TV games. That Wolves one really pisses me off. Honestly,
for fuck's sake, I'll be working.
Why is that? Do you struggle to get to the earlier games, or
it's a 12:30 kickoff, and I live in flipping Lincolnshire.
So how long does it take you to get there?
It takes me 2.5 hours to get to Edmonton, and then I have to get on the overground and to the stadium. So it takes me about 3 hours.
Early start then.
So I'll have to leave at like 8 in the morning on a Saturday.
That's the things you have. That's the sacrifices you make for the club you love.
Bullshit. No one likes an early kickoff.
No,
it's not just the early kickoffs, is it? It's when they keep changing them. I mean, when you look through some of these, at least some of them have stayed as Saturdays, haven't they?
Yeah.
When you're looking to go to a Saturday game, and they keep changing them to Sundays, it pisses you right off.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Southampton game, first game of the season. So that'll be good. And then Chelsea's on TV. We knew that would be anyway.
As always,
Wolves, early kickoff. Forest away. That I'm really looking forward to.
How far is that for you then, Forest?
40 minutes.
Yeah, that's all right then, isn't it? Decent.
I doubt I'll be able
Sunday.
to get tickets though.
Don't you know a man?
I do.
Oh,
yeah,
that's dodgy.
I do know a man. West Ham midweek kickoff on the Wednesday. It's away.
I actually might be able to go to that West Ham game because I have a friend who lives in London who is unfortunately a West Ham fan. However, he said I might be able to go to that game with him. So
not in the West Ham end.
No. As in, he'll come into the Spurs end with me, and I'll stay at his house. So you never know. We might see some interesting footage. Stay tuned for that.
You won't be able to see the pitch.
Well, no, I'll bring a pair of binoculars with me. Or actually, do you know what? I might bring a telescope with me just to see the pitch. But stay tuned. That might happen. Unfortunately, I won't be able to go to many games this season because I'll be at university. But this is the West Ham game is one of the games I might be able to go to because I have friends in London. So stay tuned.
Get yourself there.
Well, I can get myself there. It's a question of getting in, isn't it? They don't let people like me in, do they? Next
load, we've got Man City at the Etihad.
It's always Saturday night, isn't it?
Saturday, it was Saturday 5:30 last time as well.
And was it the season before when Sanchez face planted the ground?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Saturday 5:30. I don't know why. Yeah. And then the same Leicester at home. Saturday 5:30.
At least that gives you plenty of time to get there, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's not
5:30 at
too
night.
late getting home either.
And you've got Sunday next day, so it's not too bad, is it?
Yeah. So we got that, and then I don't know.
We've agreed for
the end.
Bergwijn to go to.
Yeah. But yeah, that brings the show to an end. Unless anyone's got anything they want to say in the comments. Thank you guys
No,
for
not
joining
really.
me. For joining me for the first time. We've been going for an hour and 35 minutes, so
Not too bad.
Good chat.
I feel like
Gone
James
into-
will be falling off his chair if we carry on much longer. Brain style.
I'm going to
We've
be
gone
off
into
quite a
injury
long
time today.
Cheers, lads. And
Do you think the next time we come on, we'll be talking about possibly signing Djed Spence and possibly signing Lenglet, or do you think we may have got one or two over the line?
I bloody hope they're done.
One of the over the line, yeah.
Well, and as
I
well,
want them done in
hopefully,
Korea.
we're jetting off, aren't we? Saturday, team are going off to Korea.
South
So,
Korea, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So I've got a feeling there may be a few left behind. So be interesting to see who they
It'll be
are.
interesting to see who goes.
Yeah. I've got a feeling that some people, I think Saar might go because I think he might want to have a look at him.
Star and Hill will both go.
Yeah, they could go, couldn't they? But I wouldn't be surprised to see Winks. I don't think he'll take Ndombele. I've got a feeling he'll leave him behind. But yeah, as well, we'll have a game to talk about next week if I'm asked back on. So
yeah, of course.
Sure.
Yeah,
Matt, mate, I think you're
don't want to
brilliant
be
on this
presuming.
show. I think you're brilliant. You're the antithesis to my thesis, so you're delightful on the show, mate. So don't worry. As long as I'm here, you're here.
Oh, good man.
Gibbo's thinking, oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, fucking hell. I hope Tesco's will run out of that stuff he's been drinking. Nah.
Yeah.
Good man. Good stats, James.
Cheers, mate.
Good stats. Yeah, great of you to join me. Thanks everyone in the comments for joining us as well. Caller and the team will be back on Friday, I do believe, to talk probably about Djed Spence and Lenglet some more. If we hadn't talked about it enough already.
Bergwijn's departure.
Yeah, Bergwijn's it'll be confirmed by then, I'm sure. So
Yeah.
So
I'm
yeah.
natter about that.
James, as always, thank you very much.
Cheers for having me on. You've done a great job tonight, Shan. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone in the comments. Matt, my main man. Good talk, everyone. Been lovely. Have a nice night, everyone. Have a nice week. And hope to see you all in the comments on Friday. All right?
That was emotional. Goodbye.
See you later.
Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on, Shan. Love coming on, talking about Spurs. Lovely to meet you. And hopefully we'll meet up again soon.
Absolutely. And until Friday, come on, you Spurs.
Come on,
you Spurs.